leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News at 5.
With what we're getting ready to announce with Husker and Big Ten football tonight.
Oh, really?
The hot mic moment doesn't mean the Badgers and Big Ten football are coming back. We're live in Madison.
You can't use stairs or go in anybody else's room.
Campus dorm lockdown. Marquette University is telling residents to quarantine the number of COVID cases on campus tonight.
Kohl's is slashing jobs, what the company says is to blame for the cuts at corporate.
Plus, police warn of serial carjackers in Oak Creek. An elderly woman attacked at a busy store parking lot. The dash cam video of their escape.
We begin with that breaking news, the reported decision by the Big Ten to go ahead and play football this fall.
WISN 12 News' Nick Bohr is live at Camp Randall tonight. Nick, do we know when that decision will be announced?
Well, we're hearing it could be this evening. One source telling us around 8 o'clock tonight. It seemed imminent this weekend when the universities met to talk about a return to the season. Then the president of the University of Nebraska was caught on an open mic this morning.
With what we're getting ready to announce with Husker and Big Ten football tonight.
Oh, really? I heard that was happening. I didn't. I think there's a lot of anticipation about that. Good for you. Maybe that'll get off your plate.
Well, it never will, but it's a good move in the right direction.
The season was postponed, of course, for COVID-19 concerns. However, all but one of the other major conferences went ahead with their seasons on time, and the pressure on the Big Ten grew. If games return, they're expected to start in about a month and at least at first played without fans. Still, students we talked to who happen to live right across the street from Camp Randall here are thrilled at the possibility.
Oh my gosh, I can tell you that even if we can't go to the games, assuming we can't, we're definitely going to be having tailgates here anyways, with just our roommates.
Just our roommates.
Yeah. But there's like 12 of us, so we'll be having a party every game day.
It's not fun cheering for other conferences when you can't cheer for your Badgers in your own backyard. But yeah, I really hope that we're able to see them, and even if we can't make it to a game, we could even like peek through the gate or something like that. But it's really fun to have Badger football back, hopefully.
Nick joining us again. While football fans are excited, this move might prove to be controversial.
Right, Toy, as we've been reporting, the two largest dorms here on campus are quarantined right now. The classes are all online for the next 2 weeks. In-person classes suspended, so certainly there will be some who feel that the priorities might be out of line with returning to football here.
All right, even if there are no fans there. All right, Nick, thank you.
So me and my roommate are stocked up and set, but it's day one of quarantine.
Campus dorm lockdown. Marquette University has quarantined students after 11 in one dorm tested positive for coronavirus. 12 News' Hannah Hilliard spoke with students stuck in their dorm rooms for the next 2 weeks.
With 2 weeks of quarantine now ahead of them, some Schrader Hall students headed out.
Spending 2 weeks alone in my room with only being able to go to the bathrooms or go down to the dining hall just isn't conducive to a healthy lifestyle.
While others decided to stay.
But it was definitely a whirlwind.
Like Lucy McManamint, who I spoke with Tuesday over the phone and through her window.
What's kind of the rules you're hearing?
The only rules so far that we've heard is only like you and your roommate in the room, and then like you can go shower and like use the restrooms, but you can't use stairs or go in anybody else's room.
Students will not be allowed to leave Schrader Hall for the next 2 weeks. The only time they'll be able to walk through those doors will be for a medical appointment.
3% of the 373-person Marquette University dorm tested positive. Faculty warned about this danger before school started.
We kind of knew this was going to happen with reopening. Graduate student workers, adjunct and tenure track faculty have been saying this for a while, that it's dangerous to reopen and that clusters of outbreaks will happen.
President Mike Lovell said this during a public appearance Monday.
I will just say in my lifetime of being in higher ed, it's never been a more difficult time to be leading an institution with all of the forces acting against us.
That difficult time now includes a dorm full of students on lockdown. In Milwaukee, Hannah Hilliard, WISN 12 News.
The university says every student in Schrader will be tested by the end of the week. Those who went home will need to prove they are negative before returning to campus.
And as we take a look at the COVID outbreaks on campus, Marquette reported 5 new positive cases. UWM's dashboard shows 12. UW-Madison, which is holding classes, as you heard, online for the next 2 weeks, lists 2 new cases. Now, as for the state, health officials reported results from 12,266 tests overnight, 1,348 new positive cases in that number, which is nearly double the number of cases reported from yesterday. Wisconsin has seen an average of 1,261 new positive cases a day over the last week. Now, the number of total cases in Wisconsin is now more than 91,000. There were also 10 new deaths reported today. And as you see from the map here, more than 25,000 cases are in Milwaukee County.
According to a nationwide analysis, Wisconsin is one of the 9 states with the highest rate of infection per capita. We cannot continue on this path. At one point, Wisconsin was in a pretty good place, but that is no longer the case. We must double down on our efforts to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Chicago health officials strongly advise its residents to not travel to Wisconsin. Chicago officials say if Wisconsin is unable to bring down its cases in the next week, Wisconsin will once again be added to its quarantine order.
I want to highlight that Wisconsin has had the most cases that it's had at any point since COVID broke out last week, and they are having percent positivities that range from the 13 to 17% range and problems across the state. So if you're able to avoid travel to Wisconsin this week, please do so.
According to the order, anyone entering Chicago from 16 states must quarantine for 14 days.
New tonight, Kohl's plans to cut 15% of its corporate workforce. The Menominee Falls-based retailer says the cuts are due to the ongoing pressures on the retail business brought on by the coronavirus pandemic. Kohl's did not specify exactly how many employees will lose their jobs. The company lost more than $500 million in the first quarter of 2020 after it was forced to shut down its stores for 3 months.
Oak Creek police are on the lookout for a group of serial carjackers. Police say they hit Woodman's Gas on South Howell and Kohl's just a few blocks down, which is where WISN 12 News' Hillary Mintz joins us live tonight. And Hillary, police believe these attacks were targeted and planned.
Right, Toya. Police think that this group is going after older people, perhaps more vulnerable. That was the case right here in the Kohl's parking lot. Police say 3 men assaulted an elderly woman, then stole her car. This all started just before 11 a.m. Monday at the Woodman's gas station. Police say surveillance video shows the men pull up in a red car. The victim in the orange shirt gets knocked down but fought back. Police say the group then attempted to carjack another man at a nearby apartment complex. Then at Kohl's, police say they assaulted an elderly woman and stole her blue Jeep. An officer spotted the Jeep and gave chase, hitting speeds close to 90 miles an hour. Police gave us dash camera video, and that shows the driver weaving around traffic on Howell and then onto Rawson. Officers stopped the chase because of dangerous conditions. Police say these guys know exactly what they're doing.
There's various schemes that they're using. They're identifying, people, you drop money, or do you have money? So in my experience, they're quite skilled at this. They're not just going up there willy-nilly. They have a plan, they're watching, and they're looking for the right opportunity to strike.
Hillary joining us again. Now, police released a description of the vehicles, correct?
They did, Toya. So if you want to take a look at your screen right here, this is the information we have. The stolen Jeep from Kohl's, that's a blue Jeep Compass SUV, license plate 957CSB. Police are also looking for a vehicle the carjackers showed up in, a red Kia Forte, plate number 957DRC. And luckily, Toya, no one was seriously hurt in these attacks.
All right, Hillary Mintz, thank you. A fatal crash in Fond du Lac involving an ambulance. It happened shortly before 4:30 this morning near Main and Johnson Streets. Investigators say a car failed to stop for a red light and then slammed into the ambulance. A passenger in that car died. The driver of the car had to be extricated and is hospitalized in critical condition tonight. The ambulance crew and a patient being transported suffered minor injuries.
Right now, dueling disasters, wildfires raging on the West Coast while a hurricane churns toward the Gulf Coast. The fires have polluted the air out west. Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington are now 2 of the top 3 cities in the world with the worst air quality. In the southern U.S., Hurricane Sally is not expected to make landfall until early tomorrow, but it's already giving residents a sneak peek of what's to come. This is a live picture from the Gulf Coast. The Category 1 storm is lingering offshore and is taking its time. In Florida, water levels are rising. Sally has already left docks and piers underwater and washed out roads. The slow-moving storm is threatening parts of Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi.
My fellow Alabamians, Hurricane Sally is not to be taken for granted. We are looking at record flooding, perhaps breaking historic levels. And with rising water comes a greater risk for loss of property and life.
The storm's current pace could cause the rain to linger for days, causing flooding and life-threatening storm surge. Meteorologist Molly Bernard is tracking this for us. This, as we mentioned, Molly, is a slow mover.
Right, and like they were saying, that's the biggest issue with this storm right now. The newest update was at 4 o'clock our time. The storm Sally, Hurricane Sally, moving north at just 2 miles per hour. This satellite loop goes over 12 hours, and you can see the storm not making too much progress off towards the north. Likely still offshore at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, weakening to a tropical storm, but still continuing to very slowly move. Areas in white on this map look like more than 15 inches of rain could fall. The National Hurricane Center describing this as historic rainfall in the area. So lots of rain. That's the biggest issue with this storm. Of course, it's a lot drier in our forecast, but we have some big temperature swings just ahead, and I'll have more coming up in Weather Watch 12.
Our people will stay home because they're discussing with both parties.
A closely watched decision in Wisconsin. Just 7 weeks from Election Day, the state Supreme Court rejected a last-minute appeal from the Green Party to appear on the ballot. Tonight, the presidential candidate is not mincing words. With 12 News' Matt Smith.
Every day in Wisconsin feels like deadline day. For election workers racing to get absentee ballots in the mail, they'll do so without the Green Party on the ballot.
Give me your general reaction and thoughts to what we saw from the Wisconsin Supreme Court yesterday.
Well, I think we got screwed.
Howie Hawkins, presidential candidate for the Green Party. In a last-minute 4-3 decision Monday, the state Supreme Court kept Hawkins off the ballot, saying it's too late.
Was that your read of the decision?
Yeah, they said we took too long to assert our rights. But it's not like we're a corporate party with lots of money and lawyers on retainer. We did, ask progressive lawyers we got referred to in Wisconsin. They didn't return our calls. And that's unfortunate.
The state election commission initially deadlocked on the decision, a commission made of 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats.
You got partisan hacks from the 2 major parties running their own elections. I mean, that's what they do in China or Russia.
Democratic members of the commission rejected the petition because the vice presidential nominee, Angela Walker, listed 2 different addresses. Walker is originally from Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, I'm Matt Smith, WISN 12 News.
Hawkins is still urging his supporters to vote and write in his party. He anticipates, though, as you heard, many will just stay home.
A new CNN poll shows Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden with a 10-point lead over President Donald Trump in Wisconsin. The survey found Biden up 52 to 42% over President Trump among voters in the state. The poll was taken last week after the release of excerpts from Bob Woodward's book, where the president admitted early on in the pandemic that COVID was more deadly than he was letting on publicly. ABC News will host a town hall tonight with President Trump. George Stephanopoulos will anchor the event from Philadelphia. The president will take questions from undecided voters. You can watch the town hall live beginning at 8 o'clock only right here on WISN 12.
Well, we are sure it came as quite the surprise at a local park where this python was found and how experts are nursing it back to health. And a programming note for you here. Because of 12 News live coverage of the coronavirus update from the governor's office today, today's episode of General Hospital can be seen overnight at 12:35. Of course, set your DVR accordingly.
Tonight.